Okey, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat sejahtera. Okey, ada tak saya? Alright, so hari ni, okay, sebab ni dah minggu baru, so we will continue our discussion about alkene, which is a physical properties of alkene, and also if we have enough time, we will discuss about the reaction of alkene. Okay, hydrogenation of alkene. But before that, before I continue discuss the physical properties of alkene, so I will recap or I will discuss about the nomenclature of alkene yang saya bagi exercise kat you all. Okay, so I want to share my screen first before we start discussing the topic. So we only have 15 students right now. So mana lagi yang lain? We supposed to have 56 actually. So let me share my screen. So before that, saya nak ucapkan tahniah kepada pelajar. Sekejap ya. Apa dengan internet saya ni? Alamak, nice. Sekejap ya, saya punya internet pula dah. Dengan internet saya, sekejap saya punya skrin tak boleh nak ni pula. Okay. Alamak. Sekejap ya, saya punya skrin tak boleh nak share pula. Sekejap ya, saya cuba try to fix the problem. Saya nak share skrin ni, sekejap ya. Okay, sebenarnya saya nak share screen, suddenly dia tak boleh nak share pula. Sekejap ya, saya try to fix the problem. If not, maybe I have to sekejap. Why it suddenly cannot share my screen? Can I leave the studio right now? Sekejap. Internet saya ke yang problem? Sekejap ya. Should try. Okey, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat sejahtera. So saya harap you all masih ada kat sini ya. Okay, so saya dah enter semula broadcast ni. Alright, so I want to share my screen yang nak terangkan tentang nomenclature yang saya dah check semalam. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay. So saya harap tak ada masalah. Okay, alright So hopefully ada. Okay, so this is the question that I give you yesterday. So ada beberapa orang yang salah. Okay, so in this question, so the parent is this one because it contain 5 carbon. So the parent is cyclopentane. Okay, so for this one, it contain 1, 2, 3 carbon. So it will become propyl. And for this one, 1, 2, 3, 4. It is sec-butyl. So according to the alphabetical order, sec-butyl we refer to B. Okay, so sec-di, tri, what is we call it? Third. Semua ni tak dikira sebagai first alphabet. The first alphabet is after the word. It means that sec-butyl. So the first alphabet is B actually, not S. So because of that, this structure will become 1 sec-butyl, okay, 2 propyl because P is the first alphabet, cyclopentane. Okay, but let's say isopropyl. So iso, I is considered as the first alphabet. Okay, so this is for the nomenclature. For those yang dah jawab semalam soalan, dia nampaklah saya dah ulangkan apa yang dia salah. Alright, so this is for the nomenclature of the substituent. So, masa bila nak ada iso ni? Okay, so saya ada tunjuk dalam video tu, if we have 3 carbon as a substituent, actually 3 carbon is this one. When it's bonded to anything else or any parent chain, it will become CH2. So in this case, this is propyl. But if it bonded to the secondary carbon, let's say one of the hydrogen here, we bonded to any parent chain. Contohlah, saya nak letak bonded to cyclopentane. Okay, like this. Okay, so we don't have sec-propyl. For propyl, either propyl or isopropyl. So in this case, because it attached to the secondary carbon, it will become isopropyl, not sec-propyl. Sec only begin with the substituent that contain 4 carbon, which is sec-butyl. Okay, so I hope you all clear tentang benda ni. So kalau 1 metil, nombor 2 etil, kalau 3 we have 2 possibility, either propyl or isopropyl. We don't have sec-propyl, but for 4 carbon we can have iso or sec. It depends on the situation. You can refer to my previous video that explain about that. Okay, so this is one thing yang you all banyak ada yang salah, beberapa orang. Okay, for those yang dah cuba jawab. The next question is this one. Okay. Ada apa ni? Okay, so if you have any question, you can put in the chat box. So sekali-sekala saya akan tengok lah. Alright, so now this is the next question is, you have to draw a structure for trans 1,3-dimethyl cyclohexane, and most of you tak dapat jawab soalan ini. Okay, apa beza antara trans 1,3-dimethyl cyclohexane dengan satu lagi soalan kalau dia tulis 1,3-dimethyl cyclohexane. Okay, in this case, dia ada perkataan trans kat depan. So you have to show the trans structure. Means that you have to show the hydrogen. This is the cyclohexane. To show it is in a form of trans, 1, 2, 3. So dimethyl CH3, you have to show the hydrogen. So this is the trans. If you decide to use a two-dimensional structure, so it is compulsory to show the hydrogen. Or if you decide to use a 3D structure, it is also correct. So you can draw like this. Means that this is to the in front of the observer, and this can be like this. Okay, so this is CH3, and you have to show the hydrogen. Okay, so if the question have trans or cis, you have to show in this method. But if the question only said 1,3-dimethylcyclohexane, you don't have to show the trans. You can only show like this, CH3 and CH3. So it is correct. Most of you propose this kind of structure. Okay, so you can jot the answer dalam you punya buku ke whatsoever. If the question mention about the trans or cis, you have to show that. If not, you can draw the structure like this. It is acceptable. So dalam case soalan yang exercise that I give you, your answer is wrong because the question already mentioned you need the structure in a form of trans. Okay. Okay, boleh sampai sini? Okay, so another question. So baru ada 43 watching tu, ramai lagi tak masuk kelas ni. Okay, so next is this question. Okay, ni pun ramai yang tak tahu teknik menjawab dia dengan betul. So dia kata, I only take one example. So explain why each is an incorrect name. Write the correct name for the compound. So it was given 1,3-dimethyl-butane. So it's already given the structure, and this structure actually is wrong. The IUPAC name is wrong. But you have to draw the structure according to the given IUPAC name. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you have CH3. And then we also have CH3. Betul ke ni? Soalan saya ni, soalan dia. 1,3-dimethyl-butane. Okay. So, apa you all kena buat bila yang salah ni? First, you kena draw the structure according to the given name. Okay, ataupun given IUPAC name. And then, you need to propose the correct IUPAC name. So, let's say for this one, the correct IUPAC name adalah macam salah je structure saya ni. Oh, okay. Sorry, 1,3. Saya dah yang betul pula. CH2, CH3, 2, CH, CH3, CH3. Okay, so I follow the IUPAC name. And then I need to propose a correct IUPAC name. So this is the correct IUPAC name, and it started from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I start from here because I want to give the lowest number to the substituent. So the correct name is 2-methyl-pentane. And the reason why is, so apa alasan kita? Kita kena find the longest chain, LON, for parent. Okay, so how to answer this question? First, you need to propose the structure according to the given IUPAC name. Mesti lukis dan lengkap hidrogen dan semua. Ada pelajar yang hantar kat saya, dia tak ada hidrogen. So, you miss 1 mark from that. And then you propose the correct name. And then you give your reason. Okay, depends, like the reason depends on the structure and the situation. Okay, so this is how we answer this kind of question. Okay, so I hope you clear about this, about the nomenclature and so on, because we will go to the second part of this topic, which is the physical properties. Okay, ada apa-apa soalan ke? Saya tunggu sekejap. Parent dia pentin. Oh, saya tersalah ke? Sekejap. Parent dia pentin. Parent dia pentin. Yes, the parent is pentin right now. Di bagi ni butin salah because now the parent is consists of 5. So the parent is pentin. Find the longest chain for the parent chain. Okay, atau anything else you boleh kata the longest chain must contain 5 carbon compared to the given one which is 4 carbon only. Okay. So apa-apa ayat yang merujuk kepada perkara yang sama kita boleh terima. Okay. Yeah, Azri? Kalau the best, kalau the answer, the parent should be the pentin. Okay, you also can propose that answer. So the parent should be pentin because pentin contain more carbon atom. Boleh juga. Okay. Alright, so now we will go to the second part of hydrocarbon, which is quite important also, which is the physical properties. So physical properties ni apa? It is let's say the physical properties ni adalah contohnya its solubility, its condition, whether it is in the form of solid, liquid or gas, its combustion properties, and then apa lagi, its boiling point or melting point, that is considered as a physical properties, while the chemical properties is about its reaction. So now we go to the first one, which is the physical properties. So apa yang you all kena tahu physical properties of alkane? So first kali kita kena tahu dia punya sifat dia lah. Okay, so you know that carbon, so alkane that contain 1 carbon until 4 carbon, it is exists as a gas. And then alkane that exists with 5 carbon until 17 carbon, it is exists as a liquid. Okay, if you realize that bila kita isi petrol tu, dia adalah octane. Betul? Kalau kita tengok kat kereta, dia akan tulis octane. Octane contain 8 carbon and it is a form of liquid. So minyak kereta yang kita duk isi tu, dia adalah one of the example of alkane that consists 8 carbon. That's why dia dalam bentuk liquid. And then C18 sehingga lebih, it is in form of solid ataupun dalam bentuk wax. Okay, so that is the physical properties, the physical appearance of the alkane lah. Okay, this is one. Okay, number 2, we will look at the solubility. Okay, so we know that all the alkane only consists of carbon and hydrogen. So last semester we already learned about the polarity. So we know that all the compound is a non-polar. So a non-polar molecule only can dissolve in a non-polar solvent. So dia akan dissolve in non-polar solvent. For example, it can dissolve in benzene. It can dissolve in CCl4. Okay, boleh tak dia larut dalam water? So we have to look at the properties of water. Water, this is the molecular geometry, and this is the Lewis structure. It contain a lone pair. So dia adalah polar. So non-polar cannot dissolve in a polar solvent. So automatically we know that alkane does not dissolve in water. Okay. Alright. So this is about the solubility. I think tak ada apa-apa sangat lah. Alright. So we go to the important part. Okay. Yang ketiga ni penting, which is boiling point. Okay. So generally, apa dia boiling point ni? It is the energy required to break the bond between the molecule so that the molecule will fall apart and begin to boil. Okay, so macam mana kita nak tengok? So boiling point, it depends on molecular weight. Okay, increasing molecular weight will increase the boiling point. So for example, let's say we have methane, CH4, methane, and we have pentane. So we can see that pentane have greater boiling point compared to methane because pentane contain more carbon ataupun pentane has greater boiling point. Okay, so the greater the molecular weight, the greater its boiling point. So that is the point that you're supposed to include in your explanation. Okay. So now let's look at our tutorial question, which is my physical properties. Okay, now let's look at this question. Okay, kita cuba jawab yang pertama dahulu. Let's try to answer the first question. Arrange the following alkane in order of increasing boiling point. So first of all, kita nampak semuanya adalah alkane. So that is the similarities. Kenapa saya tahu semua alkane? Because all ended with ANE, ANE, ANE. Okay, macam mana kita nak jawab soalan ni? Propane consists of how many carbon? Okay, cuba tentukan bilangan karbon setiap satu. Propane consists of how many carbon? Propane. 3 kan? Betul. You can write the answer. Methane? Only 1 carbon. Okay. Hexane? 6 carbon. And pentane? 5 carbon, right? So, can you predict which one has the greatest boiling point? Of course lah, yang paling tinggi adalah hexane, followed by pentane, and then propane, and the least boiling point is methane. Okay. Okay, so sekarang ni kita punya point adalah macam mana kita nak explain. Okay, dalam bentuk ayat. Allah, saya dah tak muat. Okay, so I think the answer kita dah ada. But now kita nak how to explain. Okay, how to explain. Let me reduce the time. Okay, kita kata apa? All compound are alkane with different molecular mass ataupun molecular weight also can. So this is the similarities between all. So you boleh buat statement increasing REA, the molecular mass will increase the boiling by. Okay. Then you kata hexane contain 6 carbon atom, thus it has the this boiling point. It required more energy to break the bond to bond. BET between its molecule. Okay. Oh, sedikit sangat saya besarkan sikit ya. The size of the font. Allah, sekejap. Sorry, I will increase the font size. Okay. Kemudian hexane kita dah cakap. Now kita pergi kepada between pentane and the second one. What is that? Pentane and propane. Okay. Sekarang kita pergi kepada yang kedua. Okay. So, pentane. Alamak. Saya kena besarkan font sekejap. Okay, pentane has greater boiling point than propane because pentane okay, siapa yang paling rendah? BOI boiling point because it's only have one carbon, so less energy okay. After you discuss and then baru you tulis methane less than propane less than pentane less than hexane. So this is the complete answer lah, lebih kurang macam tu ayatnya. The point here is the molecular mass. So first we find the similarities and then barulah kita pecahkan kepada molecular mass. So this example only refer to the first point, which is the molecular mass, meaning that based on the molecular mass you can differentiate the boiling point. Okay, kalau dalam exam this point is kalau dalam exam point ni perlu ditulis because this is the highest dan point yang paling rendah. Okay. Kalau dalam exam this one, this point, okay, semua ni point yang paling lemah dan the arrangement. Tapi kalau you tulis penuh macam ni pun lagi baik, dia akan cari kat mana. Okey. Yang paling penting adalah you mention about the molecular mass and then you mention about the energy required to break the bond. So normally kalau dalam exam kita akan, kalau dalam case macam ni yang paling high, yang paling low, then the arrangement. So this is the first example where the molecular mass can differentiate the boiling point properties. But we have a situation where the molecular mass itself cannot differentiate the properties. So I will go to the notes. So beside the molecular mass, we also have another example. Let's say the molecular mass cannot differentiate. So we need to refer to the second point, which is the surface area. Okay, so we will consider the surface area if the molecular mass cannot differentiate. So how to explain about the surface area? So let's say we have, let's say I have butane. And then we have, okay, that contain 4 carbon, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hydrogen ada 10. Okay. This carbon, these 4 carbon can have an isomer, which is like this. We can have 3 carbon, okay, that contain 1 branch. So if you look at the molecular mass, both have the same molecular mass, but the boiling point is different. So kenapa? So ini dan ini. Okay, so let's say we have, let's say saya nak letak di dalam satu bekas. Okay, let's say this is one butane. This is another butane. This is another butane. Sekarang ni kita nak boilkan dia. And we have another beaker that contain 2. And then kita ada lagi satu butane. Okay, so kita pun ada lagi butane. Okay, macam tu lah. So yang ini adalah 1-methyl propane. This is butane. Okay, so generally untuk dia boil, dia mestilah daripada fasa gas nak jadi, fasa liquid nak jadi gas contohnya. So macam mana dia nak boil? Ini ada attraction kat sini. Untuk kita bebaskan dia keluar, kita mesti overcome this attraction so that it will break apart dan juga dia boleh terbebas. So this is the area that feel the attraction between each molecule. Okay, and for this one, so let's say we want to boil this 1-methyl propane. So this is the area that have a greater attraction, while this one is quite far, so the attraction is weaker compared to this one. So in terms of the surface area, this one have greater surface area. So this one have greater surface area compared to this one. So we need a lot of energy to overcome the attraction here compared to here. Because of that, butane have greater boiling point compared to 1-methyl propane. Okay. That is mean by the surface area, which is the contact area between each molecule, each butane molecule, for example. So that the contact area tu lagi dekat dia duduk, lagi kuat tarikan yang dia rasa. So to boil it, we need a lot of energy to overcome the attraction between the contact area. That's why we use the term the surface area. Okay. Okay, ingat the first point kita kena consider adalah molecular weight. Kalau molecular weight boleh membezakan, okay, kita boleh terus guna faktor molecular weight to compare the boiling point. But if there is a situation where the molecule have the same molecular weight, so we cannot differentiate, then we go to the second factor, which is the surface area. So usually a straight chain contain greater surface area compared to the branches. The more branches, the less ataupun the weaker its attraction, because the surface area would be lower. So kalau orang tanya kat mana surface area tu, this is then an illustration lah. So kalau dia straight chain besar, tapi kalau dia ada branch, yang ini je yang kuat, yang tepi-tepi tu dah jadi weaker. Tapi jangan lukis gambar ni dalam exam tau. Okay, now let's look at the example. I think this question. Mana saya punya ni? Okay, now we have a question. So we will refer to the second one. I want to refer to the second one. Okay, so we need to arrange in order of increasing, and also we need to explain. Okay, so first of all, what you have to do is you need to draw the structure and find the similarities between all. Okay, so kita lukis dulu. Pentane consists of 5. Two methyl butane. Butane, the parent consists of 4. Two dimethyl propane. Okay, so now saya nak you all cuba teka dahulu. You rasa-rasa siapa yang paling tinggi boiling point? Okay, sorry. So first of all, what is the similarities between all the molecules? Okay, apa the similarities mereka dahulu? So find the similarities between all the molecules first. Apa similarities dia? Kita cari persamaan dia dulu. What is the similarities? The molecular weight, yes, betul. So all the molecule have the same molecular weight. Means that the first factor cannot differentiate sebab semuanya ada 5 carbon. Then we go to the second factor. Itulah dia punya point dia. So macam mana kita nak pergi kepada second factor? Then kita pergi kepada surface area. If you can see, kalau kita buat ini straight, this one contain 1 branch, and this one contain 2 branch. Okay, lebih kurang macam itulah. Okay, so kita nampak, oh ini surface area dia paling besar because it contain a straight chain. Okay, ini rendah sedikit because it have one branch. So yang ini ada 2 branch. So if you can illustrate the diagram, it can be like this. Tapi kalau yang ini, how far is it? Okay. Dia, sorry. Allah, saya dalam mood ni ke padam. Kita susun dia mesti sama lah ya. Okay, so this is the gap. Ni je yang ikat, this is the gap. Ini je yang ikat, but the gap is quite far actually. So kita dah nampak, ini paling weak the attraction. Okay, so how to answer the question? Okay, saya nak klik tepi. Okay, so ayat kita. Okay, let me write the answer first. All compounds are alkyd with the same molecular mass or molecular weight, but different molecular structure. The structure is different, right? Okay, but molecular structure, the arrangement is different. So you boleh kata pentane has the greatest boiling point because it has a greater surface area between its molecule. So kenapa mungkin tak nampak? WEIGH. Okay, now kita nak bincangkan tentang 2-methyl-butane and 2,2-dimethyl-butane. Okay, ni kita kena, yang ni kita wajib cerita tentang mereka. 2-methyl-butane has less branch compared to 2,2-dimethyl-butane. More energy to the surface area and lastly you can arrange okay, so in this case this is compulsory to discuss for the greatest one. This is compulsory to discuss and this is compulsory lah because you have to arrange. So the way you answer the question like this is depends on the information given. But the point is molecular mass. First you have to make sure that it have a greater molecular mass punya perbezaan. If the molecular mass cannot differentiate, then we go to the second factor which is the surface area. Okay, so one thing that student always wrong, the required energy to overcome the attraction between the molecule, because boiling process ni adalah antara molekul dengan molekul kita nak pisahkan, macam tadi gambar saya tu. Kalau awak kata to overcome the attraction sahaja, salah. To overcome the attraction in a molecule, salah, because it is between the molecule. Okay, so saya repeat balik. First, you have to make sure that you check the molecular mass or the molecular weight. Kalau molecular weight cannot differentiate, then we go to the second factor. Tapi kalau molecular weight can differentiate, you can proceed with the point. Okay, the surface area tu mempengaruhi the attraction between the molecule. The greater the surface area, the stronger its attraction. So the more energy required to overcome the process. It have a greater surface area between the molecule. So it's required more energy to overcome the strong attraction. You can add the attraction, become the strong attraction. You also can put the strong, but actually it's not the strongest lah. Okay, so ada soalan tak? Oh, kalau nak gantikan word less than, greater than, also can. Tapi yang last kali ni, okay, dalam statement ni boleh, dalam statement nak guna less than ke greater than ke, depends lah pada your comparison. But the last one ni, okay, saya hanya, okay, sebab soalan ni kata increasing order, so you have to show it increase. Macam ni, kalau you buat macam ni, let's say you buat macam ni, pentane, greater than 2 methyl butane, greater than 2 dimethyl propane. Okay, if you use this kind of technique to answer the question, it is wrong because you are not answering the question. Soalan dia kata increasing order. Okay, soalan minta dalam increasing order. So you have to show it's increase. Kalau you show macam ni, you menunjukkan dia ke sana ni semakin berkurang. So this is a decreasing order punya style. So tak boleh. Mesti nampak increasing. So the method that you can propose your answer is either using the symbol less than or more than tu, atau you boleh guna 2,2-dimethyl propane, 2-methyl butane, pentane, dia menaik kan? And then you put an arrow like this, and then you kata boiling point increase. Kalau you guna yang ini, you kena tengok soalan. The increase or decrease, depend on the question. This one also, you cannot, if the question asks you to arrange according to the increasing order, you have to show it increase. Kalau you buat dia terbalik, salah, sebab you tidak menjawab soalan. Kadang-kadang you dah betul, tapi the way you arrange you salah, so rugilah. Okay. Any question regarding this? So boiling point ni kalau you tengok dia quite famous juga, ditanya dalam exam. We only have 2 point. Dalam kes yang ni lah. Nanti kalau alkohol lain lah pula cerita dia. Dalam carboxylic acid nanti lain lah pula cerita dia. It depends on the situation. It depends on the compound. Ni kalau semuanya adalah alkane. Okay. Alright. So kalau ada yang nak salin dulu ke apa ke, boleh cuba. Now saya nak, okay, saya stop sekejap. Saya tengok ada apa soalan, tak ada soalan. Okay, good. Okay. So the next question bertanya why. Okay, ini soalan tutorial yang seterusnya kot saya rasa. Kenapa butin ni tak ni? Okay, so you can use your own word untuk menerangkan boiling point. Tak semestinya dah awak ikut ayat saya ni sebiji-sebiji. Yang penting the point is there. Okay. Kenapa butin is soluble in benzene but insoluble in water? So how to answer this question? Tadi saya dah tunjuk dah awal-awal tadi sebenarnya. So you kata butin is a non-polar molecule. So non-polar molecule only can dissolve in a non-polar solvent such as benzene, but insoluble in water because water is a polar solvent. That is the reason. You have to write in the form of statement lah. Okay, tak ada apa sangat lah. Saya nak pergi kepada faktor yang ketiga. Oh, sekejap. Okay, kita nak tengok yang next one. Nampak tak soalan saya ni? Okay. So my question. Tak nampak saya nampak kat skrin saya kecil je. Okay. Okay, now kita nak pergi kepada the third physical properties, which is the combustion. So apa jadi bila kita bakar alkane? Okay, so kita tahu alkane ni adalah bahan bakar yang baik actually. Contohnya butane kita boleh bakar. Methane lah yang paling banyak digunakan. So macam mana kita nak buat? Okay, kita ada 3 situasi. It can be in an excess oxygen, sebab pembakaran mesti guna oksigen, dalam limited oxygen or in a very limited oxygen. Okay, so kita nak tengok ya. So kita tengok. Now kita nak discuss tentang combustion. Okay, it can be in an excess oxygen or a very limited oxygen. Okay, in an excess oxygen, the combustion will produce carbon dioxide and water. Okay, combustion of alkane lah ya. Okay, kalau in a limited oxygen, it will produce carbon monoxide and water. Okay, carbon monoxide ni maknanya ada jelaga lah. And kalau sangat-sangat kurang oksigennya, dia akan menghasilkan carbon and water. Okay. Contoh, saya nak tunjukkan contoh. Katalah kita ada pentane, propane. Kita ambil 3 lah senang. 3 combusted in oxygen. Okay, dalam keadaan excess, kita akan dapat carbon dioxide gas and water vapor lah ya. Okay. So how to balance the equation? 3 we need 3, hydrogen 3, 6, 7, 8, we need 4. And now we have 3 times 2, 6, 5 mole of oxygen. So this is the characteristic if it is in excess oxygen. Okay. Now kita nak buat equation kalau the same compound which is propane dalam limited oxygen. So I try to put it. Okay, sekarang ni kita buat limited. oxygen. So the product is carbon monoxide and water. How to balance the equation? So we need 3 mole. Okay, now hydrogen 3, 6, 7, 8. Macam ada 4 saya dah bosan. Okay, 4. And oxygen kita ada 4 tambah 3, 7. So 7/2. Okay. And the third situation is a very limited. Kita akan dapat karbon solid jelaga kan. H2O. Okay, now kita ada 3 mol. 3. Yang ini 4. Oh, sekejap. Oksigen ni berapa tadi? 4 tambah 3. Itu kan 7. Okey, sekarang oksigen ada berapa ni? 4. So, kita perlukan 2. Itu tak saya punya balance. That's my equation balance. 3, 1, 2, 3. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4 kali 2, 8. Kita hanya ada 4, 2. Betul? Okay. Alright. And if we look at the equation, kita pun nampak ini ada 5 mol, which is very excess lah kan. Okay, saya bulatkan yang ni. Sorry. Okay, limited. Very limited. This is the product. If we look at the equation pun kita nampak ini 7/2 sahaja. Ini 2 mol sahaja. Sangat sedikit. That's why this is considered as a very limited. This is limited dan ini adalah yang sepatutnya atau lebih daripada itu. Okay, so apa sahaja alkin kat depan ni, you still can write the equation for the combustion. Cuma awak kena bezakan, tengok condition either excess, limited or very limited, and identify the product either carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide or carbon. Okay. Saya dah tengok tadi. Kita okay, kita dah almost 1 hour bincangkan tentang benda ni. Ada apa-apa soalan regarding the physical properties of alkene? Saya rasa dalam final alkene ni soalan dia ada 7 markah tak silap saya. Ada apa-apa soalan regarding alkene yang nak tanya kat saya? Alkene punya physical properties lah, I mean. Okay. Saya dah tak nampak. Masih nampak skrin saya ke? Okay, I will go to my broadcast balik. Nampak lagi kan? Okay. Okay, nampak. Alright, so boleh sambung lagi sikit? Kita nak sambung dengan physical, So sebenarnya kita dah habis tentang physical properties. So kita dah tengoklah semua physical properties yang perlu kita tahu untuk alkene. Alright. So sikit lagi kita nak sambung. Mekanisme kita akan tengok esok, tapi kita akan tengok hari ini adalah chemical reaction. Okay. Chemical reaction. Okay, now saya dah nampak skrin saya, chemical reaction. Okay, so kalau saya ingat, kalau awak ingat balik masa awal-awal kita masuk alkin dulu, saya kata alkin ni saturated hydrocarbon, so dia kurang reaktif sebab dia dah penuh. So because of that, it's only can undergoes one reaction. Okay, reaction tu yang kita akan tengok sekejap lagi, iaitu reaction free radical substitution reaction. This is the only reaction yang boleh berlaku pada alkin. Satu ni sahaja reaction yang boleh berlaku pada alkin, which is a free radical substitution reaction. Okay. Ingat dulu kita belajar masa topik introduction tu, kita ada tengok salah satunya adalah substitution reaction. Apa dia free radical ni? Okay, substitution ganti. Free radical ni apa? Hari tu kan kita dah belajar nucleophile, electrophile, free radical. Saya kata free radical ni benda-benda yang ada tak lalat bulat tu, semua tu adalah free radical. Okay. Substitution adalah penukar ganti. Okay. So we have one example, macam mana dia nak balas ni berlaku? Condition dia mesti dengan kehadiran halogen. Halogen tu adalah benda daripada kumpulan 17 dan juga UV. Okey, halogen yang sesuai adalah bromin gas ataupun klorin gas. Okey, macam mana tindak balas free radical ni berlaku? Okey, I have one example. Let's say kita ada methane. Tindak balas dengan bromin gas. Okey, so ni chemical properties Apa yang akan berlaku? Nampak kat sini ada 4 hidrogen. So now it will become CH3Br and HBr. So apa yang berlaku? One of the hydrogen akan diganti dengan bromin. So tahu tinggal 3 sahaja rather than 4. And then siapa yang ganti? Br yang ganti. So this is a free radical substitution reaction. So this example, it is straightforward because we only have one carbon. Okay, now kita pergi kepada yang a bit challenging, not so challenging lah, kita akan pergi staggered lah. Okay, if we have ethane, CH3, CH3 undergoes reaction with bromine. Oh sorry, in the presence of UV. UV is UV. Kenapa perlu ada UV? Because UV ni yang akan buat homolytic cleavage pada bromine. Okay, nanti bila kita tengok mekanisme kita akan nampak. So now we have 2 carbon. 1, 2. So you need to consider the class of each carbon. So this carbon is primary and this carbon also primary. So it have the same possibilities. Okay, so what happened? Apa yang berlaku adalah one of the hydrogen on the primary carbon will replace by bromine and it becomes CH3. Let's say I want to use the second one. CH3 becomes CH2 and one of it will replace by bromine. Apa jadi dengan H2? H2 akan, ni bromin ada 2, satu dah masuk, tinggal lagi 1. So this is what we call a free radical substitution reaction. So in these 2 example, dia punya class of carbon dia sama. So it have the same possibility. So we call this as a product. Ini adalah produk dia, ini adalah side product. Okay, boleh? Okay, now kita pergi kepada, ni kita dah nampak 2 example kan. Okay, you boleh salin lah structure ni. Let's say we have propane, CH3, CH2, CH3 plus Br2. Okay, in the presence of UV. So what is the product? So now this alkane, we have a primary, secondary, and primary. Major product, you can have a major product and also a minor product. So how to differentiate it? Okay, now if we can see in the topic chapter 11 hari tu kita dah belajar, we can have the more stable carbon radical. So in this case, we will apply the concept. So secondary is more stable compared to the primary. So macam mana kita nak buat? Satu, kita ada dua possibility kat sini. Either attached to primary or secondary. Yang dekat atas tadi kita hanya ada satu possibilities because we only have primary. So in this case, we can have CH3, CH2, CH2, Br. Ini kalau saya nak decide dia duduk dekat primary. So yang depan boleh, yang belakang pun boleh because both are the same. Atau satu lagi CH3, CH, Br, CH3. Okay. And one more is HBr. So we don't have to balance the equation. Okay, now we have two products. So this one, bromine attached to primary carbon, and this one, bromine attached to secondary carbon. So we know that secondary is more stable compared to primary. So this is a major product, and this is a minor product. Okay, kenapa yang ini ada major and minor? Because the structure have two different types of carbon. You have secondary and you also have a primary. Okay, so you have a minor and major product. Compared to the previous one, we only have one product because we only have primary carbon. And HBr is still remain as a side product. Okay tak? Oh, dah 341 orang dah ni. Boleh tak? Is that okay? Can you follow? Okay tak until here? How to predict the product for the reaction? So UV is compulsory to write because it's provide a homolytic cleavage for the bromine, and the reactant only bromine and fluorine. Fluorine iodine is not suitable because one is very reactive and another one more is very less reactive. Okay tak? Boleh? Okay. Right, now kita hari ni kita nak predict the product je dahulu. Sikit lagi. Okay, dalam 10-15 minit tu kita berhentilah. Okay, so now saya nak pergi kepada structure yang begini pula. Okay, now saya nak guna klorin pula. Klorin ni nak tulis gas pun tak apa, tak tulis pun tak apa. Dan dalam organic chemistry, the equation tak perlu dia balance kecuali yang dalam combustion tadi. Okay, ada UV, sorry. Okay, now how to predict the product? So first kita balik, kita tengok structure ni and we need to identify the class of each carbon. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Kalau saya nak, okay, now this is primary, this is primary, this is primary, and this is, what about this one? Is it a secondary or tertiary or quaternary? What about this one? What is the class of the carbon? I want you to write the chat box. Okay, cuba teka. Secondary? Are you sure it is a secondary? Secondary or tertiary? Ya, betul Alia. It is a tertiary. How? Because this carbon bonded to one carbon, two carbon and three carbon. So it is the tertiary. So in term of the stability, mana paling stable? Of course, tertiary is more stable and that tertiary contain one hydrogen. So that hydrogen we replace by chlorine. In this case, we are using chlorine. Okay, so dia akan jadi CH3, 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 Cl. So this is our major product. What about the minor product? Kalau saya nak soalan, kadang-kadang dia minta major product sahaja, kadang-kadang dia kata all the product, kadang-kadang dia kata major and minor, it depends. Okay. Okay, so you akan dapat, kalau minor dia, you can replace any one of the primary carbon. Katalah saya nak ganti kat sini. And the side product is HCl. This is considered as a minor product. So kenapa nama dia substitution? Sebab this is hydrogen and after the reaction we don't have the hydrogen but the hydrogen is already replaced by chlorine. Okay. Kenapa yang stabil akan diganti bukan yang stable kena maintain structure? Untuk kita tahu, kita kena tukar dekat yang paling stabil. Okay, nanti bila kita buat mekanisme kita akan nampak kenapa kita perlu ambil dekat yang paling stabil. Okay, so for this moment, esok kita akan tengok mekanisme kan. So for this moment kita pegang dia akan ambil pada karbon yang lebih stabil. Sebab bila dia dah stabil, bila dia donate pun dia tak ada masalah untuk digantikan dengan yang lain. Jadi esok bila kita tengok mekanisme kita akan lebih faham. Alright, so all the example that I give to the at this point, sekarang ni adalah aliphatic alkene, di mana dia adalah open chain. So sekarang, why don't we go to the cyclic? Okay, let's see, we have this. Can you predict the product when cyclopentane undergoes reaction with bromine? Okay. Okay, apa jadi? Okay, so which is our alkene? This is our alkene kan? And we know that this is carbon, this is carbon, this is carbon, this is carbon, and this is carbon. So if you look at this carbon, it bonded to one carbon, two carbon. Because it bonded to two carbon, it is considered as a secondary carbon. I think same goes to this carbon, and also this carbon. Ada tak yang nampak lain? Semua sama kan? Sebab semuanya ada dua carbon kiri dan kanan. Right? Because all are secondary carbon, so the possibilities untuk substitution tu boleh berlaku kepada semua carbon. So kita punya produk only one dan kita boleh choose any of the carbon. So buat satu je lah, bukan semua. Kita ambil satu, let's say I want to replace, sebenarnya kat sini ada hydrogen kan. So one of the hydrogen I will replace by Br. So this is my product because I only have one product. So that is the product and the side product is HBr. Tertiary? Tak, semua secondary kan? So saya terlambat tengok. Okay. Semua carbon ni adalah secondary, not tertiary. Okay, so this is the situation where it is in a form of cyclic. Okay, dan satu lagi, the last one, maybe saya nak ambil cyclohexane lah. Saya nak you predict the product for this. Kalau berjaya predict, maknanya tercapailah objektif kita. Okay. Can you identify the class of each carbon exists? Adakah semua sama? Tak, okay, tak. Okay, Azri kata tak. Okay, kita jalan sama-sama. Okay, what about this carbon? Ada primary? Okay, ada primary? Oh, okay, okay. What about this carbon? Okay, kita go one by one. What about this carbon? Secondary, okay, good. Secondary. This one also secondary. This one also secondary. This one also secondary. This one also secondary. What about this one? Okay. Okay, what about this one? Okay, this is tertiary. Why it is tertiary? Because this carbon bonded to one carbon, two carbon, three carbon. And what about this one? This carbon? It is a primary. So we have three types of carbon. And which is the major product? Yang mana yang akan jadi major? Yang mana yang akan jadi major? Of course lah yang attached to paling stable carbon, which is the tertiary carbon. So when you propose the product, it will become like this. This is CH3 and actually kat sini ada H, but that hydrogen is replaced by chlorine. So this is the major product. Okay. If you want to propose the minor product, you can have two minor product. The first one, okay, sebenarnya minor product ni terlalu banyak lah. Semua secondary tu dia ada possibility. So either soalan ni minta you hanya bagi major sahaja, okay, plus HCl, ataupun awak boleh propose lah semua kemungkinan minor product tersebut. So usually soalan ni dia minta satu je lah, state the major product. So this is the only major product. Okay, katalah jawapan tu awak lupa nak tulis HCl, tak jadi satu kesalahan untuk organic chemistry unless soalan minta side product. Okay, dalam organic chemistry, if you propose this question only, okay, dia kata state the product for this reaction. Okay, so this is, kalau you propose this one, you dah dapat satu markah. Okay, and I think hopefully this is the last one. Okay, sebab esok kita nak buat mekanism dah. Sorry, ada pula. Sekejap ya, sorry. Saya kata salah pula. Okay. So give me the product for this reaction. Produk dia apa? Okay, cuba buat. Kalau tak state mana produk boleh. Kalau soalan hanya kata identify the product, maknanya hanya dia nak yang major product. Tapi kalau dia kata identify the major and the minor product, kena buat. Identify all the product ataupun draw all the product, kena buat major and minor. So in this case kalau dia kata draw the product, hanya bagi major product. Dekat primary carbon. Tapi dia ada carbon. Okay, ada berapa jenis carbon kat dalam ni? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. What is the class of this carbon? Ada dua produk bonded to the primary carbon. Okay. What is the class of this carbon? It is a primary, right? Secondary? Kenapa jadi secondary? Dua tu saya assume awak kata secondary tu. Kenapa awak cakap secondary? If you look at this carbon, jiran dia hanya ada satu carbon sahaja. If you look at this carbon, the neighboring carbon is this one. So it is a primary. If we focus on this carbon, the neighboring carbon is this one. It's also a primary. If we look at this carbon, the neighboring carbon is only one. It's also a primary. And this one also a primary. Boleh. And what about this one in the middle one? It is a quaternary carbon. Okay. Dekat mana major product nak duduk? Boleh tak duduk dekat quaternary carbon? That's the question. Boleh tak dia substitute dekat quaternary carbon? Can it substitute the quaternary carbon? Can or cannot? I want to see. Kenapa tak boleh? Okay. Kenapa tak boleh? Because sebab tak saturated. Okay. Sebab that carbon does not have a hydrogen. Bila dia tak ada hydrogen, you cannot replace the hydrogen. Sebab kalau kita tengok yang atas-atas ni, semuanya dia ganti tempat hydrogen. So bila dah quaternary, you does not have a hydrogen. So dia tak boleh buat substitution reaction. Remember, type of reaction ni adalah free radical substitution reaction. Yang boleh substitute adalah hydrogen. So in this case, quaternary tak ada hydrogen. So quaternary tu tak boleh. So dia hanya boleh replace any hydrogen from the primary carbon. So you can propose one product, you can choose any carbon. Okay, so awak nak ambil carbon kat atas ke, kat bawah ke, kat tepi ke, semuanya sama. Because bila kita bagi naming dia, dia akan sama. Okay. Tak apa, dia cakap tak saturated. Okay, tak ada masalah Azri. No problem. Alright. So kita dah tengok hari ni macam mana kita nak predict the product. So esok kita akan tengok the mechanism dia. So hari ini kerja awak adalah saya nak you predict the product for this reaction. Tulis equation. Ada yang sahabatnya dah ada pun tadi dalam example saya. You can write a complete equation dan juga hasil dia. So dalam kes ni dia nak major and minor product if any. Kalau ada minor, tunjukkan. Kalau tak ada, tak payah. Tu maksudnya if any tu. Okay, buat equation ni. Esok kita akan buat mekanisme dia. Okay, so saya rasa untuk hari ini kita dah stop my sharing. Okay, untuk hari ini kita dah ni. Okay, ada apa-apa soalan nak tanya? Okay, I want to share the attendance sekejap. Sekejap ya. Okay, boleh lengkapkan dulu nota you all tu. Oh, besar juga. Sekejap, berarti dia. Okay. Sekejap, saya nak ambil link attendance sekejap ya. Yang tu, ya, soalan tu dalam buku tutorial. Okey, jawab. Okey, nanti esok kita akan discuss tentang mekanisme. Okay, kita akan buat mekanisme sekejap. Saya nak ambil link attendance. Sorry. Okay, so this is the link for the attendance. Okay, boleh isi attendance sekarang. Jangan bagi kat kawan-kawan yang tak datang. Okay, so ya ke you? Okay, tak apalah. You punya tak apa, nanti saya ni kan. Alah, saya tak perasan dah tu. Saya ambil yang awal-awal, tak apa. Usual nanti saya noted lah you dah datang pun. Tak dapat buka link. Tak dapat buka link attendance. Okay. So sebenarnya saya nak wish happy birthday kepada kawan-kawan kita yang birthday pada bulan Januari. Okay, so happy birthday kepada rakan-rakan yang birthday pada bulan Januari untuk 3 kelas tersebut. Okay, alright. So, ramai yang tak dapat buka link attendance ke? Kenapa tak boleh? Siapa yang tak dapat buka link? Okay, happy birthday to all yang birthday dia bulan Januari. Okay, siapa yang tak dapat buka link tu? Siapa yang tak dapat buka link? Saya dapat, ini dapat. Siapa yang tak dapat? Okay, happy birthday semua. Yang lain semua boleh Okay. So kita jumpa lagi esok. So nak buat macam ni ke atau nak guna? Saya rasa okey lah kan macam ni. Okay, so happy birthday semua. Okay, kita jumpa lagi esok rasa saya untuk kelas yang berikutnya. Okay, kita jumpa lagi. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang tak dapat ni tu nanti forward kat saya bagi tahu kat saya yang tak dapat. Saya baru jumpa tadi Yuzwan tu satu. Yang lain tu saya tak tahu apa, berjaya ke tidak. Okey, terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye. Okey, boleh lengkapkan jawapan tu. Okey, terima kasih. Assalamualaikum.